Micah Parsons still doesn't have a new deal as the Cowboys and their star player continue to get further away from common ground. Seemingly, the drama continues with America's team. And here's Jerry Jones yesterday on what is preventing him and Micah from talking.
Nothing.
So why don't you talk?
Again, nothing would be that, and we might or might not talk. And the rest of that gets in what we do every day.
You think that talks would pick up a little bit with him?
I don't know that necessarily talks will, but we've got a game coming, and he's under contract.
A little smile at the end. Marcus, with how publicly this is being handled, how do you think these seemingly daily comments from Jerry are impacting the locker room? It's nothing they hadn't seen before, but still.
Yeah, but Boogie, this is different. And I think bitterness is starting to set in between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, right? Both of them have their perspective of why the other one is being treated unfairly. And then ultimately I saw y'all play the clip and the reaction to what he said on the blue carpet about having to create this kind of drama and this scenario. So there's a lot of things that are affecting this locker room because it's not about football. This whole entire training camp has been about Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. Every question I'm sure that these guys are getting. Let me ask y'all this. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Put everybody up on the camera for me, please. Everybody up on the camera.
Hey.
When's the last time y'all had a conversation about the Dallas Cowboys and their performance in training camp and what the players are doing? Have we had that discussion at all?
And Marcus, I mean,
has anybody talked about it?
I've been on this show a lot this offseason, as have all of us, right? And we haven't talked about that because we can't, because we're too busy talking about this. But maybe we should be talking about the fact that they got George Pickens there across from CD Lamb. You've got a healthy Dak Prescott. I don't know. You're right. Like, everything is about this.
But Boogie, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. These players in this locker room are probably inundated with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. And I'm telling you, Hawk knows this as well as anybody. First of all, you're in training camp, so you're already in purgatory. All right? You're trying to get ready and get prepared for a season. You got a new coaching staff. You got new coaches trying to figure out who the talent is and how we're going to use them. Micah is unavailable, but the questions and the scenario and the narrative has nothing to do with football when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, which in line is the issue. And Boogie, you have said on TV with me a number of years, and I've had to argue with people that this actually affects the way that football is played for this football team, and nobody wants to seem to believe it until now when we hear Jerry say, I want to create some controversy because it keeps the Cowboys in the press.
You're spot on, Marcus. And I think, to your point, like the reason why these Cowboys teams fail to reach their potential is because of these unnecessary distractions. We are pounded into our head in football to eliminate unnecessary distractions. So with these comments from Jerry Jones and this whole saga with one of the best players in the game, at best it's pointless. At worst, it's actually detrimental, to your point. He comes from a very old school way of deal making, which is either I win or you win, and there's never a good middle ground. But the fact of the matter is we go through this time after time with these players who have put the statistics up to earn the contract that they're talking about. He's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the game, period. Figure out the details to the deal, because there is no version of this where you walk away a winner. Actually, you run the risk of still signing a deal that you're going to have to pay for anyway, but now you have a player, to your point, Marcus, who is bitter, and now you're questioning, are you truly going to reach that full potential? Because now he feels a way about the organization that he's strapped it up for so long.
Yeah, on some level, it obviously reminds you of what he's gone through with Dak Prescott, with CD Lamb, et cetera, but to Marcus's point, this one does feel different. And Jerry Jones is kind of talking differently about this situation than he did about those last year. He really believes, my understanding is Jerry really believes he had a deal done with Micah, a deal agreed to in the spring, and that Micah effectively backed out when he said, I'm going to run this all by my agent. So at this point, the Cowboys' stance, from what I've been told, is if Micah wants that deal we talked about in the spring, cool, great, we're happy to do it. If not, he has a contract. We can franchise him next year and the year after. We expect him to show up and play. That, to me, does not paint the picture of a relationship that's in a good place.
Woof, it just
Not
feels
at
like
all.
it's just going to keep
Not
getting
at all.
messier and messier. The other thing, too, guys, as you guys know, Jerry has not won when he's gotten into these back and forths with these other guys. He's always ended up having to pay them more than he wanted to. And in this case, it's going to be that and then maybe some more. Let's go to the news of Wednesday, you guys. Shedeur Sanders injured his oblique warming up yesterday. The Browns said he's day-to-day, now unlikely to play Saturday in the preseason game against the Eagles. Here's more from Kevin Stefanski on Shedeur today.
Yeah, felt it early, I think warming up, and then felt it throughout individuals, so took a look at it. If it's a right guard, you can play through that. When it's a quarterback, you kind of need that muscle to throw. So unfortunately, going to put him down for a little bit here. We'll treat it day to day and see how he responds, but want to be smart because he's a thrower, so you can't push that thing.
So could it be a situation where Tyler might play the whole game if it comes to that?
Everything's on the table. We'll see.
Yeah, that was Tyler Huntley, by the way, if you're keeping track of all the Browns quarterbacks. Marcus, how do you think this injury for Shedeur, we love Snoop, how does this injury for Shedeur, though, factor into how the Browns are trying to manage their quarterback room?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, obviously, for Shedeur, because after that preseason game, I was of the mindset that he deserved more reps to compete for the 2 spot. I think him, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel are bunched. If Kenny Pickett has any leeway, it'll just be because he spent more time in the NFL. But Shedeur put on a phenomenal display of what the potential of him being in this offense could be against Carolina, and then you get an injury. Now, here's the caveat, though. The injury shouldn't cost him his opportunity when he gets back, because it didn't cost the other 2 guys. He didn't move up to the second quarterback on that depth chart after that performance, after 2 other guys were injured. So when he gets back, I think everybody is still in this conversation for who will be Joe Flacco's backup, and he'll need to continue to put his best foot forward as he moves forward and gets healthy. But getting healthy is the most important thing right now.
Yeah, it's a valuable point. Marcus mentioned the injuries to this QB room. Graz, what can you tell us more about the health of the quarterbacks for Cleveland?
There's not much. Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old, is the healthiest dude there. Dylan Gabriel's been working his way back from his injury this week and has been able to participate in 11-on-11 team drills. Kenny Pickett has not. He's still working his way back from his injury. And now, of course, Shedeur Sanders is hurt, and Tyler Huntley is there as well. So it seems like Flacco is probably the week 1 starter by default at this point, based on his experience and his health. But I think what Kevin Stefanski said there at the end is like the official motto of Browns quarterbacks. He said everything is on the table and we'll see. I think that's just how they're approaching it.
I think for Joe Flacco, I like to think of, most people not going into a situation having taken crazy pills. And I know the Browns did not sign Joe Flacco thinking we're going to get the best version of this 40-plus-year-old quarterback, and this is going to be the future of this franchise. How is Joe Flacco going to do? Take his 18 or so years in the league, average him out, and that's probably what the expectation is for Joe Flacco. Now, when you look at Kenny Pickett, when you look at Shedeur Sanders, when you look at Dylan Gabriel, you're hoping that those are guys that can reach their ceiling, and you're going to figure out who has the fastest track to do so. And I know Joe Flacco didn't come into this season thinking I'm going to be the best version that I've ever been in the National Football League. Otherwise, his agent would have negotiated a different contract. And Marcus, if you're listening, Junior would never have to worry about that with me as his representation. I'm just going to put that out there. Next, what I'm going to tell you is, for Shedeur Sanders, for Dylan Gabriel, for Kenny Pickett, for the rest of this preseason, they need to get those reps. They need to continue to show what they have in the tank so that the Browns have a good sense of saying, if Joe Flacco is the week 1 starter, cool, but what does that ceiling or that cliff look like before one of these other guys surpass him to become their guy?
By the way, if you missed it, Swagu's son, we'll show you a little bit more about this later on in the show, but he is the #1 prospect in basketball. Junior is incredible. And we are all now vying to be his agent. So Swag, Hawks got his name in there. I thought I had pole position.
Quit today, Swag.
But I can't compete with
I texted him
Hawks.
this morning. I texted him this morning and told him, hey, man, you got to let me hold something, bro. I've been taking care of you. You got to let me hold something now.
Russ, what have you heard about where Diggs is in his recovery from this torn ACL?
Everything I've heard, Laura, has been positive throughout camp. He's been there. He's been practicing with the team. I think the expectation is that he's going to be okay. So to Mike Vrabel's point, I guess we'd have to hear the context in which he said it, see what the look on his face was when he said it. But it sounds like maybe he's trying to tamp down expectations, or maybe he's having a little fun with it. But I haven't heard anything out of New England throughout training camp that indicates concern over Stephon Diggs' readiness. And based on Mike Vrabel's reaction to the questioning there, it seems like, he really hasn't either.
I agree. Interesting. Okay, Hawk, if Diggs is healthy, what could that potentially do for a young quarterback like May?
Yeah, it takes a lot of the pressure off of him. Not completely, because he's still the quarterback and he has to make decisions and throws and run an offense, but it's very similar to what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen. Early in Josh Allen's career, we saw the talent. It was kind of unseasoned. It was, not fully developed or shaped. And when Diggs got there, it took pressure off him to say, okay, worst come to worst, 50-50 chance of just one-on-one against that guy. Now, the question is, where is Stephon Diggs in his career? The clips that I've seen, him doing one-on-ones, him in camp, look to be the same Stephon Diggs. And for a Drake May, it does relieve some of that stress and pressure when he's running the offense to say, if it's one-on-one, I trust Diggs against this guy. And in that version of it, it allows him to say, pull this in case of emergency, relieve some of that pressure.
Boogie, if I told you the one thing that teams need to do to help their quarterback, what would I say?
Run the ball. Or you might say run the
period.
Dang ball.
Damn ball.
Thank you.
Listen, this is first of all, this is Mike Vrabel, okay, who spent a lot of time having a lot of success with Derrick Henry in the backfield. This is the same guy. This is the same team that drafted who I think is going to be a phenomenal running back in splitting time in the backfield, the back from Ohio State, who he mentioned. And you have to think with a second-year quarterback, Josh McDaniels, reestablishing the quote-unquote Patriot way, maybe not how they go about business, but how they play football, that Drake May's best friend is going to be able to turn around and hand the football off. And I know it's boring because people always say swag is boring when you want to just run. No, it's not about that. It's about a comfort level. And when you look at this team and you think about their defensive-minded head coach who came from an era where they don't get enough credit for how good they were when they were winning Super Bowls with the New England Patriots, I think it's going to have a great understanding with Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, to make sure that that's a big part of Drake May's progression. And then when those opportunities present itself for him to push it down the field, one of the things people talked about when he was coming out of North Carolina, his athletic ability, maybe some quarterback run, maybe some RPO, maybe some zone read. That is how you progress this young quarterback. But I think with Vrabel's mentality, along with Josh McDaniel and what they want to establish at the line of scrimmage, they're going to run the damn football and help Drake May get better.
I think you're exactly right, Marcus. I think it all fits together, right? Because when a defense says, hey, we're going to take away this run, do you have somebody on the outside that they're going to match up one-on-one and still win? And that's where Stephon Diggs comes into that equation. You got to have it all. It's like an agent that knows business and has also been an athlete himself, right? Like those are important things that you need to work together. And something that I think you got to make sure you're always thinking about, Swagger.
Saw what you did there.
It just all comes together.
Hawk, put that beard in, man. I got you, dog. I got you.
Laying it on thick.
Also,
go ahead, Graz.
One quick point. Travion Henderson is not boring. If they run it with him, they don't have to worry about being boring. Just saying.
I love that. No,
not boring.
That's very good.
And he returning kicks.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
I'm glad you brought up, too, the athleticism of Drake May, Swag, because I think people forget about that. This guy has so much to his game that probably hasn't even been unlocked yet. We saw some of it last season. I bet we see a lot more this year. Time now to read and react, everybody. We are going to start in Buffalo, where GM Brandon Beane spoke about getting to a long-term deal with their running back, James Cook.
I wanted to see James get rewarded, but as you see, we've doled out a lot of cash this year, and we've got to make a lot of things fit with the cap and what those constraints are. And he obviously had to have a deal that he was happy about. And sometimes those can be hard and not fun. But James is such a great kid. He loves ball. He's competitive. And even though he wasn't in practice every day, he was very attentive in meetings and engaged with his teammates. So I do respect that part of it.
You know, Josh Allen was glad to see this one done. Graz, what else can you tell us about this new deal for Cook?
It was kind of the last of Buffalo's in-house business for the offseason. Back in the spring, they re-signed, extended a number of their key players that they've drafted and developed. Cook took the longest, but once Kyron Williams' deal with the Rams got done, it felt like that really kind of gave them an outline to work with, and it wasn't long after that the Cook deal got done. Buffalo is believing in drafting and developing and re-signing its own players because they think their program is in a great place, and if they keep doing what they're doing, one of these years, they will end up beating the Chiefs and getting to the Super Bowl.
It's gonna happen one of these years. All right, go down, Graz. There he goes. To Tennessee, where number 1 pick Cam Ward has high expectations for the Titans offense.
I think we honestly have the ability to be a top 10 offense, but also it goes on every guy in that huddle, including myself, bringing the right mindset every day. And us also playing together. I think that's the biggest things that we always play together. We never point fingers at each other on both sides of the ball. And we just got to always have that mindset that we can be the best offense in the NFL. And then it really just comes with just us caring about each other on the field, off the field, and I think a lot of that stuff will translate to the game.
I realize this is about what he does on the field, but every time Cam Ward speaks, I'm impressed. Hawk, do you agree with what Ward said about their offense?
Look, I love Calvin Ridley. I love Tyler Lockett as a receiving core, much like Cam Ward talked about. But if they're a top 10 offense, it is because Cam Ward is who we think he is, to your point, Laura, which is a football mature quarterback beyond his years, right? And he has that confidence in himself. And I don't think it's just coach speak. I think he genuinely believes that because he's on the field, that they are going to have the ability to be top 10. And I also think he gives his teammates that same confidence that they have a guy, even though he's young, that when a play needs to be made, he has the ability to make it.
Yeah, you certainly saw that connection early with Calvin Ridley, already. I'm excited to see how that plays out in the actual season. All right, let's go to Las Vegas next, where quarterback Geno Smith was asked about being a leader on his new team.
There's going to be ups and downs in this game. You're never going to be perfect. We strive for perfection, but we're all human. And so, the main thing whenever a guy makes a mistake or, anything happens out there that we don't want to happen, it's about, showing that we have each other's back. And so whenever you can go up to a guy and pat him on the back or, give him a word of encouragement, that's what we're here for. And they do it for me as well. So it's not just a one-way street, it's a two-way street. And, I just want to continue to breathe life into my guys because we got some really, really good players and they work extremely hard. So when they mess up, it's okay, move on to the next play and keep going.
That's our philosophy on NFL Live, too. When we mess up, like I just did, we just try to keep going. Oh, no, that's Hawk. Oh, wait, there's Swagoo. We're all messing up. Okay, Marcus.
Yeah, we good.
We're messing up. What do you think about those comments from Geno?
I love that from Geno, man, because of his role, because of what he's had to go through to get to this point he's at in his career. So true leadership has come to the fold for him. He's shown, and a lot of these young guys should find a lot of motivation and inspiration from his story. Geno Smith was left for dead when it comes to the quarterback position. He decided to fight, worked his way back, got his opportunity in Seattle, maximized that, and now Pete Carroll obviously brings him over to the Las Vegas Raiders to continue what they were doing. So I think it's a big deal to have Geno Smith in your locker room, and it's a big deal for him to be one of the leaders on your football team.
Yeah, it really is. He's been a great story in the NFL. We're still messing up. We're going to try to get it back together. Oh, hey, Hawk.
See, I'm over here building a deck for Marcus and Marcus Jr.
Agent Hawk.
That's actually magic.
Yeah,
you know
put him
what?
down.
Here's
put
the
him
reality.
Down in the middle of that.
Hawk made that happen because he's trying so hard to be Junior's agent. I had nothing to do with it, and our production staff had nothing to do with it either.